Okay, so today I'm going to be watching a horror movie instead of that horror series that I was doing last time, which was 30 Coins, because that one, nothing even against it, although the first episode was kind of bizarre and weird, and I don't know exactly where it was going, but it could have been interesting. But Paul Giamatti baited me. I thought he was on the cover of it, and so I thought it would be in English at least, because the way that I'm watching these kind of while driving is not going to work with that, because it's all subtitles. But whatever, so we'll just skip that. That doesn't count for the format that even I was trying to do. That was just a mistake, and it's amazing how many times I've messed up. I'll watch something for the first time just on a whim, but how many times has it been something that has been totally off the base? Like, I said, let's watch a horror series. So this series called Evil Lives Here sounds like a horror series, so I'll watch it. But it's not really. You can say it in a manner of speaking, but it's not really a horror series because it's like a real crime sort of documentary style thing. Like where it's showing, and it turned into a comedy with how much I was clowning that girl. I watched like season 1, episode 6 apparently. I thought it was the first episode. Evil Lives Here, where it's like you're living with a criminal or something, and it's going into the whole backstory. Right, so that was not a horror series, so I messed that one up. Then I go to watch this one, 30 Coins, and then that one also wasn't right. Or it wasn't in English, which again, I'm not discriminating against it, but it's just like, I can't watch it under this circumstance. So I'm going to actually switch over to movies because there aren't really too many horror series that I misguessed one. One of them I can't watch because it's not in English. But the other one was garbage, the fucking Lovecraft Country. At least the first episode was garbage. So there was nothing really of value. The only other one that I know of that people say is good is American Horror Story, but it's not on this HBO Max, so I'll just wait on that one. But no, the whole format with this one was supposed to be, I kind of have two formats for horror stuff and for the comedy stuff that I do in sort of the second slot. So the comedy slot one, let's just recap this because it'll be confusing, but I kind of like these formats that I'm doing. So there's like kind of sort of a challenge and something at stake with each of these. The first comedy slot is where I watch like something I've never seen before that was like The Big Bang Theory, and I watch until an entire episode fails to make me laugh. So episode 2 failed to make me laugh, so then I stop. Then the first horror slot, like I kind of alternate like that. The first horror slot is I'll watch until an episode fails to scare me. So episode 1 of Lovecraft Country failed to do that, so then I stop. Then the second of each slot, the second comedy slot, is like I'll watch until I laugh. So that I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, not the full series, the original premiere or whatever, like the 1999 Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm. And that made me laugh, like, with, like, 20 minutes left in, where the guy's talking about this girl fucking people to death, and, like, his heart exploded, and just the way he said it. So that counted as a laugh, so we stopped watching. So this one is going to be, so the second format is basically like a try not to laugh or try not to get scared challenge. And so that one caught me off guard. Then the second one, here, for horror, is the same thing. Try not to get scared. So if I get scared, I stop watching. It doesn't matter what part of the movie we're at, nothing like that. And if it's like a series of movies, then I could like almost do it like that. I'll watch the entire series until, but that would be better with the other format. Like I'll watch an entire series of horror movies until one of them fails to scare me, at least once. So the scare has to be a serious, legitimate, uncontrollable, sort of almost audible one. If I scream, if I am really freaked out, if I get in a fucking car crash, that's how I'm doing this, but whatever. Like, it could be a jump scare, but it has to be a legitimate one. It can't just be like, oh, I'm a little uncomfortable. It has to be a legitimate scare, just how, like, that was a legitimate laugh in the Curb Your Enthusiasm, very unexpectedly, because the episode wasn't funny at all. It almost seemed like it wasn't trying to be funny. It's, like, very documentary-type style stuff. So finally, what you have here is just I'm going to watch something that I hope is in English. It's like The Witch, but it's like with a V. It's spelled like with a double V almost, The Witch. So does that mean it's in a foreign language? So let me give it a shot. That would be the ultimate troll, but it could be my fault for just assuming everything's in English. But again, the only reason why it matters, normally I wouldn't care, but the only reason why it matters is because of the way that I'm watching this. So we'll start, again, watch until I get scared. If I get scared at any point, I stop. Otherwise, I'll end up just watching the whole thing, and it'll have to be over the course of multiple episodes, whatever. But when I go to upload it, I'll just upload it together. So we're starting in 3, 2, 1, and this is on HBO Max, so whatever consideration. If there's like some sort of intro on here that wouldn't be on a disc version or some other version, then you have to be aware of that, I guess, for the timestamp. Parts and labor, at least this part is in English, in before it actually is, in a foreign language. That's going to be a troll. RT Features. Does that mean it's Russian TV? Maiden Voyage Pictures. I am kind of reading it as if I could, whatever, but yeah, we'll just try this. I've heard it's pretty good, I guess. I heard somewhere at some point. I don't know when or how, but no, I haven't seen too many horror movies. I haven't seen too many modern movies, as a matter of fact. A lot of old school ones I've seen. I almost wanted to watch Scream again. Eerie string instruments playing, but I can't hear it. It said that before. It spoiled it. Actually, subtitles can be a bad thing for this kind of thing. I still have to do it because I won't know what the fuck characters are saying. But it can give away something, like it just gave that away. A New England folklore. Well, New England should still have fucking English. Or some of these are like very quiet. This is like during the Pilgrim times, I guess. No, you came to get haunted by a witch. So he has nothing to lose. This is like Saddam Hussein on the stand, like when he's talking all this shit and they let him. As his last words, basically. So it's a period piece, obviously. This guy's voice is very deep. So they're not even killing him or anything. That's not so bad, just exile you. So what exactly did he do? I don't even know. We don't even know yet. Again, it might be a good movie too, but the whole scare thing is just a little gimmick format that I want to do, and in this way you're almost punishing it, but that is kind of the framing, like, try not to get scared challenge. I'll watch The Witch until I get scared, like, you know, which I won't, so I'll watch the whole thing, which is good, but I don't know. You could interpret it other ways, like, you'll watch, and then if you do get scared, then you watch another one in the same series. Right, you could do it that way too, if it's like a series, which I'm pretty sure this doesn't have a sequel, but Jehovah's Witness, the early ones, these weren't the Jehovah's Witnesses, they were just as Jehovah, period. So you get a little of this ominous music. It's almost a little bit too quiet though, because like I'm using a headphone, but you know, so then you obviously can't hear it on the thing, on the recorder here. Oh yeah, and that's another problem too, is if it's really dark in the scene, the glare is going to, you know, there's potentially going to be glare where you can't even see shit, right, because it's too, whatever, just the angle of this and how you're in the sunlight sometimes and stuff while you're driving, that can't be helped. So sometimes it might be too dark to even see anything, sometimes it might be too quiet for me to even hear anything, so those things will kind of all work against it. Sometimes I'm not even looking at the screen, so I mean I'm watching, but this is all quiet stuff here. This is going to be like The Village from M. Night Shyamalan, who's coming out with that new movie, whatever it is, like The Trap. Which in this day and age, the real horror could be something else, am I right? Ha ha ha. What is a trap in the modern slang? Jesus Christ. What, is it a remake of Miss Doubtfire or something? Ha ha ha. So you got Anya Taylor-Joy looking as aesthetic as ever. She's just exploded in popularity, like unbelievable. because your own will is a bad thing. Atheist reacts to religious movie and debunks religion in the process. How about that? If you were really sorry, here's my elitist victim blamer. If you were really sorry, you wouldn't have done it in the first place, you bitch. That's where I can be harsh. Like, if somebody gets killed, it's your fault for being a clown and going out in the woods at night or whatever. Like, right? It's harsh. Keep it to a high standard. So my favorite things are when characters exert themselves. Like, my favorite stories are characters. They exert themselves fully and do everything the right way, and they still get killed or whatever. Whatever the outcome is, that's like game theory, right? They do the best they possibly can, but they still get caught. Or they, you know what I mean? Like a criminal. He doesn't... That was almost an attempt at a jump scare with whatever that stupid sound was. Like, that didn't get me at all, but it was just kind of dumb. They're trying to jump scare me with a boo, dude. Are you serious? Yeah, just like give us a character going all out and whatever happens. Like the witch is going all out and she doesn't make any mistakes, but she still gets beaten. Or the character trying to survive does the best they can and they get killed. The baby disappeared. This is going to remind me of The Village a lot. Just whatever, the setting, time period kind of is similar. Although technically, spoilers, whatever, but it's still imitating that same thing. I actually didn't dislike The Village as much as people say. It's not great, but it was actually decent. Like, it's not a bad movie. It's good the way it sets everything up. You know, some people didn't like the twist and the ending, but it's actually not bad. And the music is fantastic. It's one of the greatest scores in actually all of movie history, I would say. Right, which obviously James Newton Howard worked with. Was it James Newton Howard or was it Hans Zimmer? Now I can't remember. Maybe I'm confusing it with Nolan, but he worked with him a lot. Like, I think it was James Newton Howard. He worked with him on a lot of his movies. So he did Signs, a very good score for Signs. He did a very good score for The Village. He did one for possibly some of his other movies too, so he had a good relationship with him. Like, even if you don't like Signs or The Village, they both have amazing soundtracks to them. And of course, Signs is routinely on my list of the best movies of all time. And people always debated me on that, but like, I get what people don't like about it, but what's strong about it is so strong that it succeeds in ways that almost no movie ever does with the character study. So what we're seeing here is a black screen, and there'll be some sort of scare. I don't know what's going on. Or is she going to be somehow the witch? Is that going to be the twist? Because that's what horror movies sometimes can be. Maybe at their best, or maybe sometimes it's a gimmick. It's like a mystery, too. Like, who is the killer? Who is the devil? You know, whatever. Right, like the devil in the elevator. And M. Night Shyamalan has some pretty cool premises for his pictures. They're just kind of... I don't know. He has talent, but I don't respect his career because he was like a one-trick clown, and then he kind of got too full of himself and fucked himself up. Right? He's somebody who got too... Okay, is this just going to go on forever? I don't know. I can't even tell what's happening, really. This is where the glare gets in trouble. Like, I can't really see it. So I'm going to be looking so intently because of the glare that then it'll scare me. But I'll be honest about it. Either like you'll hear a scream or a gasp, or you'll somehow be able to actually do it in such a way that you can... I'll just admit it, even if I don't gasp or scream, but if it genuinely scared me. Though that boo didn't do anything for me, I just kind of noticed and was making fun, like, oh, that's an attempt at a jump scare. Like, okay. How could you be scared by somebody as cute as Anya Taylor-Joy? But no, I think the Queen's Gambit brought out her aesthetic side a lot too, like with the eye, like how she's always doing that stare, and you could notice like what sometimes might be considered unusual appearance of her eyes, but actually, you know, it's good. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing, it's just like uncommon, so people find that, you know, something that's different is bad, or something that's different is good, just because rarity, scarcity creates value, like, whatever. I like monochrome eyes, personally. I would love and be in a relationship with somebody with monochrome eyes. It's never happened yet, but it's super uncommon. So like they're different colors. But hers are like just different sizes, I guess, like her pupils. So we don't know what that guy did to get exiled, but maybe he's being accused of being a witch or doing whatever witchcraft stuff. And so I didn't see what was happening with the boy and everything like that, but that was a younger boy, so I don't know what happened. I genuinely couldn't see that scene at all. This is kind of good because it gives you time to talk so much, but I mean, people would find this annoying, but I mean, look, we're just watching for the heck of it. And of course, as a historical film critic, I have utmost respect for all the little nuances of a movie, but also, you know, the whole point of this is to react. So we got a goat bleeding. It's starting off like very slow, which is fine, but you know, you could give us a little more to munch into. We got some mysteries so far, though. What happened to the little boy? Partly because I couldn't even see what it was. This guy has such a distinctive voice. I can't even tell who it is, actually. Kind of out of touch with movies. Modern movies, at least. So they're gonna say like it's a wolf, which is kind of what was on the picture of the thing. So they feel like a wolf took the baby. Oh, just like the village, you can't go in the woods. There's only like one jump scare type moment so far, and it wasn't a very good one, but I guess that's the point. Like, that's why it's just a fake out. It's not like a genuine scare. Even like the baby being taken away was less scary than, you know, that, or less potentially scary than that. Like, the way they showed it was less shocking than like how they did the scene transition. Like, see, even that's a technique. Like, they switched the scene, and then now the children are yelling and playing, right? So these sort of quick cuts into another scene with from silence to noise. Like, I know all your tricks, dude. I guess I didn't even know she was in this. Or sometimes star power can give something away. Like, she'll end up being the witch because, you know, she's so well known that it would be like a twist. She's going to be the final boss. Whereas if it was some random actress, then you wouldn't think that. Like, oh, it's just, you know, it's just some random character. So you know she's going to have tremendous significance just because of the star billing associated with it. Which Quentin Tarantino definitely undid that stereotype with Margot Robbie in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like where she's there just to show off her feet, I guess. Well, it's just going on for a long time without, you know, this is the problem sometimes with horror movies. They'll waste like the first half just like, oh, I wonder what it's going to be, which is fine, but it's like, sometimes that's dumb. I hate that, like in Rosemary's Baby or The Exorcist, like they waste so much time just, oh, you know, whatever. it's a case where you can just, they try every theory. It could be some illness she has. It could be something else. He's being very assertive here, the boy. This is always the first where I'm sneezing so much. You'll get jump scared by my sneezes before the movie itself. This kid is very perceptive and inquisitive, which means he's certainly not the candidate for religion, am I right? He's going to ask too many questions and invalidate it very easily. So back to Anya Taylor-Joy, that's just what I'm going to call her anyway. So the one scene that I totally don't understand is that one where it went in the dark. Like, I didn't see what happened, but he's been gone and missing, and yes, of course, like a religious standard, kind of. By not speaking about something, it's better. That's like saying, by not thinking about something, don't shoot the messenger. Like, you still have to deal with what it is. That's what this will turn into, is actually clowning religion. We're going to see some sort of sign of the dogs and animals are always a good indicator. They always sense something before everybody else. Like in Signs, they use that a lot. But then it also leads to a lot of dead dogs. Like in The Thing, PETA could have shot down the thing pretty... What is that, just a recoil? Like The Thing kills a dog. I think Halloween kills a dog. Signs kills a dog. The aliens killed the dog outside. So there's a kind of like dog massacre in horror movies, just to kind of set something up as a scare. Even Megan, she kills the dog. It's a good way to sort of, have something creepy happen without it being a person, if you're trying to build up more, and then build up to that later. Or maybe it's not even the kind of movie where people die. It's using silence a lot here. Silence and then a sudden noise. We get a lot of long shots of Anya Taylor-Joy. Like, we get it, she's attractive, but... And it's not even saying in a sexualizing way, but just like, she's very aesthetic to the camera, very photogenic, but you don't have to do it like this. Or she's going to be accused of being a witch. Maybe that's what, whether she is or not, right? You should be all familiar with the witch hunt if you watch anything to do with Donald Trump, am I right? Haha. Not even that you have to like him, but just, just whatever, just the amount that they go after him. Behind hand, is that really a necessary extension? She likes it, the ultimate excuse. They don't like Anya doing or saying anything, it seems like, just. He's talking a little bit too much now. The father's going to be mad. It's the trick of the witch, right? Like a mirage. But he lied still, right? He didn't go to the valley, he went to the forest, right? Yeah, that's like a hierarchical thing. You could say the same exact thing, but they don't want you saying it, right? Like Anya says it, it's wrong, but if he says it, it's okay. The same exact thing. So it's not the idea, it's the individual and some sort of contrivance of authority and stature that you have to maintain. He keeps giving away the ominous music. I gotta stop looking at it. It said that at the very, very beginning to start off in a bad note, like, you know, it's going to give away all these things that are like, you know, it'll say a sound before it actually happens. Or even it'll say dialogue before it happens. Is he perving on her? He's going through puberty, dude. Can't blame him. You're Anya Taylor-Joy, not some ordinary farm girl. When a boy gets to this age, oh, don't say come to a boy who's just looking at you like that. Or you're giving him exactly what he wants. I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it the wrong way, but she does all these weird things that could be interpreted as a scare. Like, even that was kind of, could have been like a jump scare, the way she made that noise suddenly. Her saying boo and her doing that. Okay, a little bit of role play. And it's always the little kid who gives away. Oh, now she's gonna role play and get caught. Be careful about saying shit like this at that time. Now this could be for real too. She's being very serious about it. Let that child alone, as a wise man once said. Pretty good role play that she did there, like almost convincing that she could be for real. So that's a good scene to kind of But yeah, they use the kids sometimes like they know what's really happening. Like they have the book inside, they have the book that tells them about aliens, even in a hypothetical fantasy sense. Or like in Monsters Due on Maple Street from Twilight Zone, the little kid knows more than everybody else. Not that he's suspicious, but just they have these flights of fancies or they're somehow more perceptive. So she knows it's a witch before anybody else, or she's at least saying it. Kind of. Now this is how she'll get accused of it. Somebody will say something that you role-played really well as a witch. But she's a very creative type, the way she came up with that whole scenario and everything. But everybody seems to kind of dislike her a little bit. Or they'll accuse her of stealing it. Yeah, because your degenerate husband stole it and sold it. The witch took it, blame the witch. Oh, he's always sticking up. Or they think she's making it up, but how could she be to blame for the kid? I guess she was playing, or he'll admit it now, playing games with the kid if she wasn't messing around. Oh yeah, the kid going away was just a little nick in your day, but the cub disappearing, that's really the final straw. That's how I'm interpreting this scene. Do a sin counter. How many times did they say the word sin? It's a religious movie, couldn't you tell? Or like it's so dark that they're kind of playing off that too. You could light more candles than what they have there. They're being stingy with the candlelight. Yeah, do your little witch roleplay at night in the dark. Now that'll get somebody. She is kind of a mischievous type that way. She's saying boo. She's pretending to eat the kid's head like it's an apple, making those sounds. She's also role-playing as a witch. Like, he's giving off a lot of signals that are like either something really is wrong with her or she's just a perfect type to play around and stuff like that. You know, to kind of provide false alarms. So on a technical level, that is a bit of a cliche. Right, the victim in a horror movie is the one who always likes to joke around and play around, so they'll, you know, cry wolf. The pace is just very slow, I must say. Which can be effective, but I don't know. that was a really good scene where she's pretending to be a witch. So I wonder if that's going to come back on her somehow. Or that'll be some corroborating evidence that, like, they might suspect it, but then they'll defend her, but then they'll say, oh no, she said all these things, and they'll believe the little kid. So that'll be the thing that pushes it over the edge. Oh, so you should be grateful that he never took a child from you? Oh, wow, you should be grateful not to. Wow, this is the fallacy of fallacies. So you don't blame God when something bad happens, but you give him credit when everything else. Fuck. You know, you won't blame him for putting you in a dangerous situation, but you'll thank him for saving you. At least they didn't kill you. Oh, that was just like an analogy he was making, though. Why do we need a silver chalice? But maybe he said that offhandedly and wasn't actually thinking about it. That's what they're worried about, that he's in hell, not that he's dead. Like, what is this? Yeah, nice whispering too, dumbasses. Go kill that wolf and eat that. There's plenty of wolf meat out there. Or if it was an adult or somebody who died, it could be, oh, they cannibalized him, that's why he went missing, because they're so desperate for food. That could at least be a fictional technique, but of course, whatever, they wouldn't do that with a baby. But I'm just saying, like, an adult character goes missing, but it wasn't the monster who killed them, it was just them, because they're so desperate for food, right? That could be like a twist moment in one of these stories. Lie not to me. I like that. Maybe I'm just not used to the pace of movies anymore, but I somehow... I really thought the young girl would accuse her of being a witch, though, at that point. Like, whatever, when she did that little act. That was very convincing, I must say, and it's not just because it's Anya doing it, but just generally, the way she was talking and behaving there was incredibly compelling. did they actually run away together? Like, that's it? Another potential jump scare with the dog barking, but certainly not for me. We haven't really seen anything, or maybe we would have seen something, or it's always in the animals that you think, you know, is one of those animals the witch somehow, or what? Majora's Mask moment certified. I don't really, her name doesn't really roll off the tongue, Thomason. You might say, oh, that's somehow discriminating against old-timey names. Well, like, Caleb's a perfectly easy, common name. Thomason is very, I don't know. I've never heard that name ever before, so maybe that's part of the intent. Like, you want to make, like, some iconic, memorable character, but that's really good in Avatar, like, where they come up with all these crazy names. Like, nobody's going to know them offhand or whatever. They're just kind of difficult. Doesn't have to rhyme. Eminem's been real quiet since this dropped. The original rap song was written in prayer. Which, to be fair, like, a lot of songs and a lot of stories were written in religious context, and then the GOAT William Shakespeare came along and he started to write about other things, which is a bit of an extrapolation, but it's still, you know, sort of true. Like, around that time is when they started to write finally about other things. Whereas a lot of stories and things would have been rooted in some sort of theology. At least I think that's pretty accurate. Okay, so today in my first movie reaction of this whole stint, I guess I did the Barbie movie a while ago, but basically I've been mostly doing TV shows. I'm going to watch the second half of The Witch, and there's only like 39 minutes left. So my verdict on the first half is it's actually kind of slow. It hasn't been that interesting. Anya Taylor-Joy has been pretty good, her acting, but even that's been sort of restrained. Everybody's kind of just holding back, dialed back, because they're so serious. So the only really scene that took advantage of her was the one where it's like, that's almost a recurring trope that's not even funny about these reactions, is just the fact that the main times when I stop in the middle of an episode, like it happened in The Big Bang Theory, I think like the second episode, like there's some police thing going on, or you have to, you know, so then I just stop, because obviously it's no fun. Like, you're literally in traffic, there's an accident, you gotta go around it, so I'm not gonna fucking make a joke out of that, like, oh, look at me, I'm distracted by that as I'm watching, you know, whatever. So, whatever. The point is, we're watching the second half here, and the first half was slow. It was sort of, not a whole lot was happening. The guy gets exiled, they're out in the woods in some undesirable place, right? And I'm not always gonna catch the names of everything, but, and Anya's name doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, Thomason or whatever, but the point being that her one good scene was when she was pretending to be the witch, but they missed a lot of opportunities, because with only 39 minutes left, not a whole lot has happened. They, you know, the baby went missing, then the other boy went missing when they tried to run away, right, something like that, and then we saw, like, the witch's hand, I think, in the woods. But no, the intrigue would have been what I was imagining, which is a lot better than what we have here, is like an actual witch hunt, where she's accused, and she goes to trial, and there's kind of all these theories and conspiracies, and she has to defend herself, and the audience is left to wonder, like, oh, is she actually the witch, or maybe she's not? Like, you know, you'd be taking her aside, or maybe you're suspecting maybe she actually is. So all that stuff was in the background, but there's none of it. Like, none of that has come into play. They're out there by themselves. So what is real, the intrigue? Like, just the witch is out there somewhere in the woods, and it's like a retread almost of the village. Like, oh, you're not supposed to go out in the woods, but since we're exiled anyway, we can do whatever we want. So there hasn't been that much of interest. Like the cup was a good revelation that, oh, the husband sold the cup, and so there's that. And the kids go missing, and Thomason is not to blame, but, you know, you could suspect that she's a witch, and maybe that'll be the twist, and I almost hope that it's her because she's so good at acting that you want to see, you know, you almost want to see that in action. So all of that stuff is good, right? But they missed the whole witch hunt opportunity, because with only 39 minutes left, the most that can happen is they could suspect that she's the witch, the family, but they really haven't even done that yet, right? There hasn't been a lot, really, of interest that's happened. So as much as I've heard positive things about it, and I'm not one of those people who goes by the ending, oh, if there's some good twist or some good ending that redeems it, it makes up for it, but it really doesn't. Like, I'm more like, okay, has the story and the character development and all that been good? And I'll even use a movie that's much maligned by comparison. You know, this I've heard good things about, and Signs you hear a lot of bad things about, 2002, like where the aliens aren't that interesting and that stuff, there's some logical fallacies and inconsistencies. That's true, but the character development is so strong, and the writing at times is so strong with some of the themes and everything like that. Right, Mel Gibson's character goes through so much. That's very strong, and it's dealing with actually a similar religious element. But we've seen this sort of thing in so many other movies, sort of a period piece. There's nothing really that stood out as being particularly good. It's really an ordinary, bland sort of movie. And people might blame the way I'm watching it, but no, I'm very disappointed. Like, there was nothing of interest. I was even doing the challenge, like, watch till you get scared. There's been nothing remotely scary. There's been a few potential jump scare moments, but there's been nothing. So this last 40 minutes better be rife with a lot of, you know, intensity and thrills, because there's just nothing. I'm not saying the whole movie has to be like that, but again, on a character development level, we haven't seen too much. On every other level, it's just been ordinary, right? It's just been uneventful. I won't even say it's been terrible, but it's just been bland. So I'm not that impressed. So we're going to start from, I think, minus 39.20. I can't even see it now with the glare, but I guess I could correct. How would I know this? Fuck. I think it's minus 39.20. So we'll start in 3, 2, 1. I guess I could figure out, based on the dialogue, if I'm wrong. If you can spare a while, do. We'll leave at dawn, I promise thee that. So they're going to get help for food, right? Because they're running out of food. And also, or no, they found the boy, but he's sick, right? And, or now the young girl will accuse her of being a witch, but it's your fault. You don't roleplay if you're Anya Taylor-Joy because you're too good at acting that they'll actually believe you. Even I almost believe you. I almost want to believe you. You don't have to abide them, just listen to them. That's a funny line. I cannot abide your songs. That could be a potential jump scare moment, like jump scare count 3, when Anya's saying boo when whatever happens in the woods. Little. Does she have a name? That's what I would ask. What does this? Who does this? Anya does this. Haha. Fuck. So we got a little exorcism thing going on, possession. You would think the first thing she wouldn't make him say would be that she's doing it to me, like the witch, right? Okay, a little gross out, throwing up. Not really much of substance here. Witch, is that a word? Did she say all those things and she's quoting them, or is she just making up? Okay, this is what I've been waiting for. Now her acting here is her greatest asset. I mean, if it's not her, then who would it be? The mother? Like, there wouldn't be any. If it's just a random witch out in the woods, then there's no intrigue to that, right? It has to be like a twist. Or they're being sort of possessed too? I don't get what's happening. They waited too long for this, though. Yeah, I thought the wolf is the primary imagery. Yeah, and she's the witch. Thomas said, I'm the witch, but you're all fucking saying all this crazy shit. Just say the power of Christ compels you, right? That usually works. I already made that joke before. At least the boy I know how he got to, but how did he make the other two do that? The witch. It's just a fake out. He's gonna do something now. Or like he knows the prayer too well that only the devil would know it that well, or something. Or if you did that, you would die, basically. So in his last moment, he has a moment of joy. This was at least a good scene, but maybe we waited too long for it. Right, like I would have had something like this happen earlier and then have her be accused, and all that intrigue goes out the window. They never legitimately, even the father has been really sticking up for her like crazy with respect to not suspecting her and admitting to selling the cup and all these kind of things, right? He doesn't want anything bad to happen to Thomason. That was sort of a delayed reaction. Nobody got near him for a while after he did that. What are you, a doctor? Count 1 million too when they keep trying to diagnose stuff? How would you be so sure at this time? What, only you can grieve, nobody else gets to? it's one of those self-fulfilling fallacies, like, right, oh, only you're crying because you feel bad about what you did, right? You're guilty. But like a normal person would cry now anyway. Or if you don't cry, then you're not crying hard enough, so you must not care. Not enough witch hunting, 0 out of 10. Trying to distract her. Like she did it for a good reason, maybe, too. She did it to get food or something like that. Well, especially now they would. Oh, you're being ungrateful, though. No, wait, you took Caleb in the woods. You ran away with him. So, really talking shit to him there. Or yeah, I guess technically they were both joking about it, right? She said it first, I'd be the witch of the woods, and then, so they're taking that kind of literally, or she's hiding behind it. So they both said it in jest, so neither of them are the witch, and it's just some other random person out there. Right, like that's how you have to think of it from a writing standpoint. You probably shouldn't have accused them, though, that makes you look bad. They just don't know all these big words. They're just little kids. Why would he believe her so easily, too? But this is at least a good witch hunting sort of suspecting moment, but so how exactly did they make the covenant with the devil, though? Like, what did with the goat? I don't know how that works exactly. Or like that 30 coins reference, like if you're born of a goat, that means you're the devil, right? A goat has like a... Should have never joked about it. It's just the way that they use people with certain imaginations, like, psychological conditions. They would have just said, oh, it's because of the devil. The devil made you do it. Can't just be that you're a bad person. Can't just be, even in the modern day, oh, nobody could ever do that, so they must have some condition. Insert condition here, like a medical thing. So it's the same fallacy. Like, you're always trying to excuse behavior by saying something else made you do it. But ultimately, it's just a state of being human. Allows you to potentially do it at least, so you have enough self-control, at least as an adult, not to anything they can't explain must be the work of the devil, blah blah blah. You got a still shot of the house there, nice. This part was at least intriguing. I know there, people say, oh, they're trying to build up to it. But the build-up wasn't that good, it was just... Or it was too slow. It should never be like now you're practically begging or expecting, will something actually happen? It escalated quickly, but it took too long to get there. But no, I thought she went with... I thought Caleb was running away or whatever on his own, and then I thought Thomason went with him. And then he went missing, and then the father brought him back. Maybe I misunderstood that. Because I am the witch. He confesses it. The problem isn't that you have pride, but you have nothing to be proud of. Yeah, at least he's saying the right thing there. Natural evil, exactly. That's natural to man and human beings, not because, oh, the devil made them do it. You might have to because you're starving anyway, haha. Not because of this as a display, but just because you're so hungry and there's no fucking food. The father's acting here is good, Anya's acting is good, the mother and the kids are just generally okay, but it's just, I don't know, something's missing from this movie, and unless there is some really satisfying twist ending or something, again, I'm not the type to go on that one way or the other. If the ending's bad, it doesn't mean the whole movie's bad. If the ending's really good, it doesn't mean the whole movie's good. But generally, I don't know, you go in with maybe too high of an expectation. It's not bad, but it's nothing special either. I'm not too impressed. But let's reserve judgment till the end, which is coming pretty soon, actually. But no, it would have been over 3 days that I watched this. So I watched it the day before yesterday, and yesterday I watched Sopranos, and then today I'm finishing it. So that's what I don't like about watching a movie, that they're simply too long. The mother could be the witch. That would be the twist or something. There's very few characters, so that's what kind of hurts it, where it couldn't be some other, outcome that, either it's just a random person we haven't met, so the witch is just out there, and we kind of saw the hand, I think, in the woods. I don't know what that means, like... A little unintentional ASMR moment there. I can't even hear what's being said. And some of these dark scenes are very hard to appreciate like this, because not only can I not see, really, but I get a glare in this position and stuff. And sometimes the subtitles, ominous music. It shouldn't say it at least before. It should say it like after. Or I guess it's supposed to say it during, but it sometimes preempts it too much. Right? Nothing's even happened and then it'll say it. Yeah, with the glare and everything, I really can't even see what's happening, but it's a very quiet, meditative sort of scene here. These kind of things can be a little scary, where it's like an ongoing, long, music intensifies, a long sort of take. I would imagine getting jump scared by a laugh. Yeah, I didn't come close to being scared so far in the movie really at all. There's a couple potential jump scare moments, but nothing that really... the biggest cheap thing is just it's quiet, 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 and then there's a sudden sound, or like a transition. But some of this I could always rewatch, obviously, to maybe better understand it, but I think generally... The one thing I mainly misunderstood was who went in the woods with Caleb. I thought Thomason and him went together, like they were both running away, right? And I thought that's where the problem happened. Yeah, this was like critically acclaimed, so I mean that's weird. Maybe I should go in more, you can't help but having heard stuff like that, but you should go in more a little blind, not even knowing that or having that in mind. So maybe that's unfair, but you're going in just expecting something a little more. The story, characters aren't really anything mind-blowing, right? There's no great thing happening, and then you have okay, that could have been another potential jump scare moment. The goat is out and active, but what does that mean? Is the goat the witch? I didn't see what was happening when the laugh happened. So the goat is the devil itself, I guess. Yeah, nice one-liner. Those are your last words? Wouldn't you rather scream? Lost to a fucking goat? What is this, Goat Simulator? Now Anya's gonna join forces with it because she was the witch all along, I guess, but... So it wasn't a wolf, it was a goat. I don't know, like, the goats are always, like, the symbol of the devil, but... I don't know exactly how that happened either or why. Like, goats are fine. What's wrong with a goat? That must mean I'm a devil worshiper. I'm a witch or a Satanist just based on that, right? What's so bad about a goat? She said, like, the same things 5 different ways. I know people like cat fights, but this wasn't the kind I had in mind. So everybody dies, but what is the point, basically? Or she is going to be the witch, the mother. Or she could have theoretically done that all along when she was waiting to see if she would choke her all the way and then sort of took mercy and was trying not to and didn't want to. So it wasn't that she physically was struggling to do that because she had that weapon all along. Right, but she was psychologically saying, oh, I don't want to do it until I absolutely have to if I'm going to die. That's kind of what's good about that. Now her crying is going to turn to laughter exactly as planned. But I mean, how are you going to get away with this one? I guess you're already sort of in exile in the middle of fucking nowhere, so nobody cares about you, but... But yeah, you probably shouldn't stay in that position too long, because it would make it clear what you did, even though it was self-defense. We need a good self-defense lawyer over here. From the olden times. So what, does it just end like that? How much is left? I don't like to look at that either, like how much time is left constantly, but I guess I couldn't help it at the beginning, just for the simple fact that, you know, you wouldn't have had that much time to, I had to restart it at a particular timestamp just so I know what it's at, and for everybody's benefit, you know. So if she's the last one standing, now that she'll face off against the witch and redeem it, but it's like, you know, that's often a weakness of horror movies as a genre. It's like, everybody just dies, so like, what's the point? Like, one person survived, hooray. Like, are we supposed to feel happy about that? Or like, what's the thing? It's just kind of, you know, exploitation and just, you're just watching people get killed just for the sake of them getting killed. Not that this is like that. In fact, there arguably wasn't enough of that, or enough, you know, real thrills or anything. It starts off just so slow, you know. So this part was pretty good, but it was almost obligatory, like it had to be, otherwise what's the point? So now she'll reveal that she's the witch, and I won't even be able to see it. This is the one bad thing about horror stuff too, is it's so dark often that I can't really help this sort of setup. I need like some kind of anti-glare thing to put over the screen maybe to help with some of these. If it's a comedy or something else like that I'm watching, or even like drama, soprano, stuff like that, it's okay if you miss a detail visually, or usually it's clear enough, but this is like very dark most of the time. Although the lack of dialogue is kind of good because you get to, ramble on like this or whatever, because, you got to wait. So some genres are less suited for that, where there'll be constant dialogue. So what is going to happen before the end to redeem this? Maybe nothing. The scenes with the kids were kind of good too. The boy, especially, that was a good moment of performance. But some of it's almost just like a voyeuristic thing that we get used to in these movies. Like, we want to see the obligatory exorcism scene, and we want to see the obligatory murder scene, violent scene, and nothing wrong with it. It's just like you're sometimes just doing it for the sake of it. There's not much else to it than that. Right, and then we'll make parts 4, 5, 6, 1 million, even though this, again, applies less to this than other genre staples, but also here it's very dark, so I can't see. Damn it, yeah, this is really hard for me to appreciate. Are we going to get scared in the last moment? I guess if we did, it wouldn't matter, because we would stop watching anyway, because it's almost over. All that could be happening here is almost like a guess what's happening when it's too dark to see. Could be a format too. And if I guess wrong, I have to stop watching, but then how would I even know? She could just be revealing that she is indeed the witch, which would be kind of cool, right? Because I just wanted that to be the case. Conjure is a word that a witch would use. No, I speak Spanish. Like, why is she asking if you understand my English tongue? No, make your tongue Spanish and then I'll understand it. Go eat some Mexican food and convert your English tongue to a Spanish tongue. Like, what the fuck do you want me to say to that? This is like a deal with the devil moment. This voice is pretty good for the devil. You've already given enough by killing your whole family. This voice is perfect, actually, for what's happening. Thy shift. What is a shift? Remove thy shift from my work schedule. Sounds good to me. I'll take a vacation day. It almost seems like I'm mocking it at times, but I'm just kind of having fun with it. This is like a old god Cthulhu type Lovecraftian, kind of moment. Which I'm a big fan of stuff like that. Low, quiet humming. I don't fully understand still what happened there, because like she's basically making a deal and all this kind of stuff. Snake-like chanting. Some disturbing chanting for sure. I like how aggressively they're doing it, yelling. It was her. She's the witch. The end. Is that what we're going to get here? We get a little smile, get an evil laugh. Her pose almost looked like a crucifixion, how her arms were out a bit there. Not that I can hardly barely see it. So she maybe makes the deal and gets punished for it, or I don't fully... I would have to look something up, or I'd have to almost rewatch, but generally speaking, no matter what's happening there, you know, the first half especially wasn't particularly good, the second half was mildly interesting. So, like, I still don't fully understand, like, okay, so either she was the witch, or she just... I'm guessing that's what this is going, but like what all that was. But even if she wasn't, like, okay, maybe she's trying to take advantage of the situation. Like, okay, all this witchcraft happened, so I may as well take credit for it and live luxuriously off of it, like that voice was saying. But yeah, it was a little bit hard to follow at the end there. So it wasn't anything super special. I'll give it actually a C, and maybe I would give it like a B minus just on a placeholder because I didn't fully understand, or like to the credit of the way I'm watching it, maybe a bit to blame, but I would have to almost look something up to try to figure out. So, and again, I'll miss some obvious details, and I'll miss the characters' names and things like that at times, and all of these kind of things. But generally speaking, you know, maybe it's one of those things, you know, they do that on purpose, leave it ambiguous so you can debate the meaning of it and things like that. But the one pitfall of this, again, is it's so sunny and then we get the glare, so I genuinely can't even see what the hell is happening. So Anya's performance was good. The father's performance was good, especially his deep voice. The other characters were good, like some of the kids' acting was good. They miss out on the whole witch hunt opportunity, though, with other characters being involved, right, where there's no intrigue or mystery with that, because it's like there's only one character who could really be a witch, or maybe two, right? Even they bring the kids into it, but even that's kind of hard to swallow, right? The little kids. So really, it could only be Anya or the mother, right? And then also, there's just no other characters overall to suspect or to do anything. So the worst case, like if you were suspected, you could just basically just leave, just run away, which has its own pitfalls, but they can barely find food or anything. So maybe what they were saying was, her and the father were saying in that one scene, like, one time we had, like, good fortune or whatever, right? Something like that. And so the point being with that is maybe she did that out of desperation, like, I'll do some sort of pact with the devil or some kind of witchcraft to try to save us from whatever, starvation or something like that. So maybe that's how she got into it, right? That's always how it starts. So hunger is a gateway drug to witchcraft and Satanism, right? Maybe that was the interpretation there correctly, that she did it like at some point there, and he was suspecting her maybe in that sense, that then he gets killed by a fucking goat. Like, some of this stuff could be seen as almost comical in a way. But no, what was the thing with the wolf? Like, why did I feel like there was some wolf-like imagery that we didn't really get to see or anything? But basically, yeah, there's this sense of value for the fact of basically being able to, what do you call it? There's a sense of value for the fact of being able to look at, you know, okay, maybe she did it in the past for that reason, and so now she gets sort of hooked on it, or I don't fully understand, but that would be sort of my interpretation based on what I think I saw. Just, you know, she had done it for maybe a good reason there, and then now she's not, or everything starts to come crashing down. Everybody dies besides her, and then maybe she dies at the end too. So there's some sort of innuendo or double meaning, maybe even with some of this stuff. Like where I don't fully see what was happening at the end. Like, is that supposed to be her in hell? Right? You can see like the fire a little bit. That she's getting kind of crucified, or I don't fucking know. Like, there's so many different interpretations, a lot of which obviously having to do with religion. But so what? The witch gets burned at the stake because she's a witch, and then whatever, gets her comeuppance. But so what? Like, it's not really that impressive. So I wasn't that impressed. So now, but at least it failed to scare us. So we watched the whole thing. And so now on the next format, the day after tomorrow, it'll be a comedy one that I do, like a comedy series in which I'm able to basically, I'll go back to the original format where I'll watch until an episode fails to make me laugh, right? Whereas the second one was I'll watch until I laugh and then just stop watching the series altogether, like Larry David's Curb Your Enthusiasm thing. I guess I could do the actual Curb Your Enthusiasm, watch until an episode fails to make me laugh, right? So that one almost failed because it was like, you're in a position where it wasn't really that funny, and then we got caught off guard by a moment that wasn't like super interesting anyway. Right, like it probably wasn't meant to be funny in any meaningful way.